Welcome, guys, to another episode of the Data's in Control podcast. My name is Brian Chauvin, and I'm the founder of Data's in Control. So today, I want to talk to you guys again about something incredible that happened on the weekend. And incredible is the adjective that I'm using only because I learned so much about myself from the way that this situation was handled. Now, let me elaborate. So, Sunday morning, I coached my middle son's hockey team, and after the hockey game, my kids went and stayed with my parents for a few hours just to hang out and have some fun. So after that, my wife and I were doing some running around, grocery shopping, and getting some chores done around the house, and it was time to go pick up my oldest son for hockey practice. So I went and I got in my car and I drove down, and on my way, I turned and made one turn onto a major road on an advanced light, and something happened. I don't know what, but I was in a lane, I was by myself, and the next thing I know, there's a car following me. Extremely close. And I'm not talking about tailgating, I'm talking about he was holy shit close to me. So I slowed down. I was going maybe 85, 90 kilometers an hour. I slowed down. I was going 75 or maybe even 70, 65 kilometers an hour, thinking that this guy's going to go around me. Well, he didn't. So I sped back up. So after I sped back up, I ended up being stopped at the next stoplight. So I stopped at the next stoplight and he was behind me. It was fine. No problems, no issues. Start moving again. The next stoplight, same thing. This guy is just on me. He's on me. So as I see the next stoplight, the light's turning colors. So as it turned to caution, I made sure the way was clear and I buzzed through the light. The light was red and he buzzed through the light. So this is where I know I'm in trouble. I'm getting scared. This guy ran a red light. He's driving extremely erratically and unsafely behind me. So now I'm looking at my phone and thinking, do I call 911? Do I record this guy? What do I do? Who's behind me and what's the problem? I don't know. And my mind's running a mile a minute. I approach a roundabout really intently, and I'm very conscious of what's going on around me, and there's a car circling the roundabout, and I have to slow down almost to stop. And this car was so close behind me that he had to hit the gravel on the roundabout because he would have hit me. So now I know that there's something going on. I know I'm not safe. Something's going to happen here. And I drive into a subdivision trying to see if he's going to follow me, and he does. So now I have to make a decision. Do I drive to my destination and get one of my kids in the vehicle, or option B, do I stop? Thinking about this, I decided I was going to stop at a nearby gas station. This gas station is right around the corner from where my parents live, and it was busy. There was 10 pumps. All the pumps were filled. There was a lot of people around, so I felt safe. I felt comfortable. After I stopped, this guy immediately pulls up next to me. I roll my window down and keep my hands in clear sight on the steering wheel, and the guy pulls up next to me and starts screaming at me. And I looked at him, I let him scream for a minute, and I looked at him and I said, "Sir, I'm not sure what happened, I'm not sure what you're angry at, but if I did something to offend you, I'm sorry." And he kept going and going, and then he started getting out of his car. Now, I know one thing. The guy that is yelling at me is about 70 years old. I'm 37, and I'm double his size, and oh yeah, I forgot to mention, I've been training Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu since about 2008, so I'm pretty intent on my self-defense. I said to the guy, "Don't get out of your car. I'm not going to fight you. I have no desire to fight." And he kept arguing, and to make a long story short, we were able to resolve this conflict. But it wasn't because I remained cool. My being calm made the situation worse for him. So I actually had to raise my temper, I had to raise my voice. But that's all I'm going to say. Needless to say, the situation was resolved, nobody got hurt. Now, why am I talking about this? Excuse me. Why am I telling you this? Well, because I've never experienced pure rage like that. I've never been on the other end of that. Now, mind you, I've been mad and I've got mad about things, but I've never been so mad that it blinded me. I've never been so mad that it made me do something and put other people into that kind of danger. Now, I'm not just talking about him and me being in danger. I'm talking about all of the people that were on the roadway that day. I'm talking about everything that was going on. He was extremely unsafe, and he was so angry that I don't even think he realized it. And that made me think, what is going on in this poor guy's life to make him behave this way? What is happening to make him so angry and lash out at someone that has nothing to do with his problem? Now, that made me think even more. How would I have handled this if my kids were in the car? What would I have done? What if I was the man and I was enraged? How would I handle it? What would I do? And I've talked about this before in the podcast, and I use the 10-question situation diffuser very often. Now, the problem is, in order to do this, in order to catch yourself and diffuse these feelings and diffuse these emotions, you have to be a little bit self-aware. You have to be able to extract yourself from that situation. Now, I feel where I'm at in my own awareness that I could do that, but I know that not everyone can. So the question I'm posing to you guys today, the people that are listening to this, is what would you do? How would you handle that? If you were the guy and you were so mad, so this pure rage, would you be able to recognize it and pull yourself out of that situation before you made a catastrophic mistake, before you put yourself and or someone else around you in danger? Because let's face it, the situation, as I replay it in my mind, I'm not doing it any justice, was extremely unsafe for a lot of people. And, I mean, on the road that day, there's mothers, brothers, children, fathers. There's a lot of people on the road that day. And I would hate to see someone get hurt because of somebody's blind rage. Because rage is blind. Now, the other side of this is when you're so angry, you're not thinking about what's going on around you. You're not thinking about anyone else except that blind rage, that killer instinct that just wants you to tear someone to pieces. The problem is you don't know who's in the other vehicle. You don't know what they're capable of. You don't know what they have with them. Maybe he had a gun. Maybe he was a serial killer. Maybe he had a knife. Maybe he had weapons. Now, I live in Canada, and where I live, you cannot carry concealed firearms. So I felt okay with that. I knew that I was in a safe situation. I felt like I was okay with that. I can defend myself against weapons, but I can't defend myself against a gun. But I don't want to bring harm to another person. And I feel sympathy for people that are in that headspace. What could he do? What could you do in that situation? Now, needless to say, I've invested in myself in self-defense. I know self-defense, I know Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and I am confident in being able to handle myself, be able to protect myself. I'm confident. And I think that everybody should invest in themselves. I feel like everyone needs to have the ability to defend themselves. Because if you don't, if you're not confident in that, then in these situations, you're going to be in big trouble. Now, diffusing anger, diffusing rage takes a little bit of practice, and you're going to have to start before you hit that cul-de-sac of doom, because it gets to a point where it's beyond control. You have to recognize the emotions. You have to recognize the triggers. You have to recognize in yourself these feelings. You have to be a little bit self-aware, and you have to be able to pull yourself out of that situation. And that takes some practice, but it's entirely doable. Because, let's face it, if you don't, bad things can happen. Have you put yourself in this situation? Have you been filled with this blind rage? Have you been on the other side of it? If you have, how did you handle it? What did you do? I'm curious. Anyway, that's all I have for today. That's my episode. That's my thoughts on this specific situation. I wish everybody out there listening I wish that you don't have to experience this exact problem. But if you do, I want you to handle it and think about the person that's on the other side. Think about the person, someone's father, someone's brother, someone's husband, because you never know what they're going through. Maybe they have a wife that's sick at home. Maybe they're mentally ill, whatever. That is a human being, and they deserve to be treated with respect. So, if this is a conversation that you want to continue, if you want to learn more about how to maintain control in your life, how to retake control in your life, head on over to dadisincontrol.com and click the button to join the free Facebook group. Otherwise, just go to Facebook and search Dad is in Control. Last but not least, if you haven't already done this, please hit the subscribe button and head on over to the podcast app or iTunes and rate and review this podcast. It goes a long way for giving us exposure to deliver our message to other people that would benefit from it. So until next time, guys, have an amazing day.